Bonsoir, good evening, merci pour être venu. We have some news this evening. The main topic of today, of course, was the report of the Future Host Commission for the Olympic Winter Games. And with me to discuss that, we have Karl Stoss, IOC member and chair of the Future Host Commission for the Olympic Winter Games, Christophe Duby, who you will know also, Olympic Games Executive Director. Just a few topics just to quickly run through that some of you will be interested before we come to that. The IOC today, EB today approved a change of nationalities for 9 athletes in view of the Olympic Games Paris 2024. James Copus in rowing from Great Britain to the USA. Luciana Diniz, equestrian from Portugal to Brazil. Valeria Lyubimova, cycling from Russia to France. Oscar Nielsen Julian, cycling from Great Britain to France. Conor O'Leary, surfing from Australia to Japan. Kayla Sanchez, swimming from Canada to Philippines. Georgi Tiblov, wrestling from Russia to Serbia. Aklea Toprak, judo from Great Britain to Azerbaijan. And Mikhail Yakovlev, cycling from Russia to Israel. We also had a list of candidates for the Athletes Commission election at the Olympic Games Paris 2024 today. The IOC-EB today approved the list of candidates who will jointly proposed by their respective NOC Athletes Commissions and NOCs. 32 candidates, which include 18 women, 14 men, all from all 5 continents across 15 sports. The election for 4 available positions will take place during the Olympic Games Paris 2024 in the Olympic Village. Okay, let's go to the main event now. Let me first hand over to Karl and Christoph, and let me first hand over to Karl Stoss to give you a short presentation on today's news. Karl, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Also, welcome from my side, and thank you for joining us. And on behalf of the Future Host Commission, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the decision today. The Executive Board today followed the recommendation of the Future Host Commission to invite the French Alps and Salt Lake City, Utah, into respective targeted dialogues to host the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2030 and 2034. So we recommend a double allocation for the next winter editions. The IOC will now start more detailed discussions with the preferred hosts led by their NOCs with the aim to award the 2 editions at the 142nd IOC session in July in Paris. In addition, the IOC Executive Board decided to grant the non-edition specific project Switzerland 23X a special status by inviting it into privileged dialogue for the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games 2038. Why? As you know, there are 4 interested parties with a current interest in hosting the Olympic Winter Games: France, USA, Sweden, and Switzerland. Commission members were deeply impressed by all 4 projects: technical excellence, passion for Olympic winter sport, and commitment to the sustainability principles of Olympic Agenda 2020+5. What really stood out about the French Alps and Salt Lake City, Utah projects were the vision for the athletes' experience, their alignment with the regional and national socio-economic development plans, and the very strong support from the public and from the levels of government. The Commission felt strongly that the other interested parties would benefit from more time to optimize the athletes' experience of their future games. and to continue to build on the burgeoning foundations of public and political support. Switzerland 23X has great potential with its project aligned with Olympic Agenda 2020+5 and the principles of sustainability, cost reduction, environmental protection, and legacy. Today's decision was based on these positive elements. Positives for French Alps project. The vision, the rejuvenation of Alps and bring sustainable tourism in this region. The Games plan, maximum use of venues, 5 to 4 clusters, alignment with the development plans and Olympic Agenda 2020+5. Experience and skills, winter sports hosting, structures and best practices of Paris 2024. That means sustainability integrated in every area from transport to finance, aligned to Paris Agreement on climate change. And public-private sector and the highest possible government support. Positives of Salt Lake City, Utah. That was the vision, to build on the legacies on 2002 and create a future for venues and sports program. Games plan, very compact master plan, no capital investment required. Experience in US of hosting major international events in most Olympic winter sports. Exceptional public support and the highest level of national, state and city government support. Positives of Switzerland 2003X. There are many exciting venues for winter sport. Switzerland has a great experience in hosting international winter sport events and its role as a host country of the IOC and many international federations. This is why it was felt at our commission could be a good opportunity for both sides. But we need a strong support from the public and also from the governmental side. And thank you to Sweden. The Swedish project presented an impressive vision to stage the most sustainable games in history. The project was technically excellent. The quality of the world-class competition venues and the strong tradition of winter sports in Sweden is clear for all of us. The Commission felt further work needs to be done when it comes to a building support at all levels, including the necessary government entities and also from the business sector. The Commission also expressed concerns with the proposed funding strategy. Private revenues appear to be on the high side, in particular when it comes to domestic sponsorship and ticketing. The Commission therefore concludes that Sweden should be encouraged to continue to strengthen their concept. What happens now? What are the next steps? The International Olympic Committee will now start more detailed discussions with the interested parties led by their NOCs. So they have now to do their homework. The work is not finished now, but we have just another 6 months to come to a decision. The future host commission will now set a timeline for the targeted dialogues and will report back to the executive board on the outcome of these discussions ahead of the next IOC session in July in Paris. That means we need end of February a deadline for the future host submission. We need 1 month later a deadline for all guarantees. We need time to visit the future host city in April, and we will finalize the future host report and will present it latest to our commission first in May and then afterwards in June also to the executive board, and after their commitment that will go to the IOC session in Paris. That are the next steps, and I think it's very clear what we have to in the next few months.
Carl, thank you very much. Now we can take questions. We'll start in the room in English or French. So anyone want to ask a question, or people too busy writing the story? Happy to take, yeah. Do we have a microphone, Micro? Merci.
Rachel Axon with Sports Business Journal. I just wanted to clarify, with Switzerland getting the 2030X, does that mean that they become a potential host of either of these editions, or we're looking 2038 or later? What does that designation for them mean?
The first priority in this privileged dialogue will be to become a host in 2038. But if they need more time, they will get more time, maybe for the edition of 2042. But the first priority is to 2038.
Okay. Il y a des questions, Marc Von Thuyac.
J'en avais trois, mais j'en ai une qui est partie en route.
I had three questions, but
Je reviens
one
juste
has
à
got
la
lost.
Suisse.
Let me come back to
On est
Switzerland.
d'accord, il n'y aura pas de
We
décision
agree there will be no decision taken.
No?
No.
But Christophe.
Christophe will answer.
problem at all.
No problem.
Christophe will answer.
Donc, ma question. Donc pour 2038, on est bien d'accord. La
For
décision ne sera pas prise
2038,
lors
the decision will not be taken at this
de la
session.
session de Paris.
I mean,
Deuxièmement, la
this
session de Paris.
session in
Normalement,
Paris. Normally, in Paris, at the session,
qui accueille la session a un pays candidat pour l'attribution des jeux.
when
Le
a
vote
country
ne peut pas
is
avoir lieu là.
host of the session, the vote cannot take place there.
Une réforme de la
Do
charte
we
olympique ou-
thus need a change of the Olympic Charter?
Qu'est-ce qui ferait que la
And,
France n'organise pas les Jeux, mis à
What
part
would happen if France doesn't organize the games, excepting, of course, an earthquake which would destroy everything?
Il y avait bien trois questions, Marc. Hein,
There were
c'est bien
three
ça.
questions, Mark,
Alors,
correct?
la première, concernant les Jeux de 2038, ce que
As regards the games of 38,
au dossier suisse, il y avait
in relation to the Swiss files, there is still some work to be done at
l'obtention des garanties, tout en relevant
plans and
que
the
dans un pays comme
guarantees.
le nôtre, il y a
In a country like ours,
une tradition
we have a
qui consiste
long-standing tradition,
d'utiliser des
which is to
référendums, en particulier
organize referendums,
lorsque certaines
in
limites
particular
financières sont
when
dépassées.
some financial limits are
Toutes ces
overcome.
possibilités-là,
And we want to make sure that all these
avant d'avoir un dossier qui
possibilities
session du CIO.
are settled before presenting a file to the IOC. Thus, probably,
Finalisé pour les Suisses.
there will be no finalized file prior to the elections in
Ce qu'on
July
s'est dit, c'est le horizon
2024.
temporel. Ça, je crois que c'est important
However,
aussi, c'est 2027.
Horizon would be 2027 for the simple reason If this file would not get the necessary support, we should start a classical procedure which might take a few years. Thus, we are working from now to 2027. As to the Paris vote, there is no need of changing the charter because we don't have to elect a file in a city like Paris, as there are no other bids for the same games. What we have to avoid is a disloyal competition, which is not the case. What could make this project go wrong? As our president said, we have to complete a file in its details. We have an excellent basis. We have to recognize the capacity of France to organize major events in all winter sports at regular intervals. We have to finalize the master plan, work on transport, security, all these aspects. And at the end of March, get all the necessary guarantees. In other words, we have quite a lot to do. Of course, if the executive board takes a decision on the basis of the recommendation of the Commission of Future Hosts, it means that it trusts the French system, which will deliver undoubtedly all the required guarantees.
Oui, monsieur le gentleman.
On n'avait que comprendre que Sapporo voulait éventuellement concourir pour 2038. C'est totalement en
Sapporo wanted to run for 38. What happened with Sapporo?
Potentiel de Sapporo pour après 2038.
With their potential bidding for 38. What happened to Sapporo?
Le comité olympique japonais nous a
The
signalé
Japanese
par rapport
Olympic Committee told us that
dans l'horizon temporel qui était
as to a file that was being contemplated,
simplement parce
they
que
wouldn't make it because there are some difficultés to be overcome at the level of governance. As you know, they're working on a new frame in order to accommodate international competitions. And according to privileged dialogue with Switzerland until 37 in this horizon, and for games in 38, Sapporo will not be considered. However,
aussi l'approche actuelle qui permet une grande
this is present approach, which entails a certain flexibility. Should Switzerland not materialize for several reasons, the doors would be open to any other bid, including Japan.
Okay, we'll take one more here and then we're going to go online. We'll come back to you. Yeah, lady here.
Oui, bonjour. Question en français pour l'agence France Presse. Est-ce que la
question in French.
française
Would the French bid
financier de
at
potentiel
a
engagement
level
de
of
sponsors qui sont déjà
finance
sponsors pour les Jeux de Paris 2024
have sponsors for the Winter Games twice are already sponsored for 24?
Conviction.
Would this
Et si oui, lesquels, bien sûr.
make you convinced? And if yes, why?
This is one of the great opportunities for the French bid to use all of the sponsors from 2024. And they discussed already with some of the big companies in the country, and they would like to support it as well. So they have a really great fundament for the sponsorship, and I think they will continue to talk with the different parties to support all the Winter Games in 2030.
Thank you very much. Let's go online because we've got a lot of people. Christian, you have some questions online.
Yes, Mark. We start with Salt Lake Salt Lake Tribune is the correct name. Julie Jack. Julie, you're on.
Okay, do you have me?
Yeah, please go ahead, Julie.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I'm here from the watch party, well, somewhat watch party, in Salt Lake. So hello. There's a lot of excitement here. I have a couple of questions. One was if I don't want to disparage France, but if it's not able to meet all its requirements by this March, will Salt Lake be asked to step in to take those games, or what will the process with that be? And then also, will both be named in Paris, or will Salt Lake be named in Paris? And if France meets all of its requirements, will it be voted on at a separate time?
Okay, Julie, thank you very much for the question. We had already a very strong support from the municipality, from the state of Utah, and also from the national government, including President Biden. He would guarantee for all the expenses, and they stand really in a strong status behind these games, this bid. They are looking forward to support it in each way they can do it. Maybe you have an additional comment, Christoph?
No, I think what has been submitted and the demonstration of support is outstanding. Let's be very clear. During the commission, as you said, the governor, the mayor were present, even though it was election day, so that was quite stunning from her to stay with the commission. They have brought all the guarantees needed already at this point in time, so it is extremely strong, Julie. And as for the question with respect to when this would be at the same session, where the targeted dialogue leads to two decisions, one with respect to 2030 and the other for 2034. I would just conclude by saying that in Salt Lake City we've had a partner for 3 years now, and they've been incredibly patient, incredibly thorough, and we're able to rally everyone behind what is a superb project.
Thank you very much, Julie. Let's go to two more questions online and we'll come back into the room.
We go to Rob Livingston from Gamespit.com. Rob.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my question. So I had some audio problems earlier. I'm not sure if this was specifically covered, but are the double allocation, are they both being voted on in Paris next year? And also regarding Switzerland, I'm not sure if they're the preferred candidate for 2030X. Are other cities still invited to the dialogue for those in future games? Do they have some sort of priority for those games? Can you clarify that a bit?
Yes, they have, but they have to do the homework first. The decision is not made yet. They have to do a lot to come to a strong support from the public side and also from the business sector. And they have to show us a more comprehensive venue plan. The venue master plan was spread all over the country, and they have to bring it more closer to some hubs. That means maybe 4 clusters, and to bring the Olympic spirits to the Olympic villages. So at the moment we don't have Olympic villages. We have just different accommodations all over the country. And we have to discuss it now in the next few years. That means latest till 2027. To bring up this new master plan, as well as hopefully the guarantees, and maybe a referendum. We are always open for a public mind, and we will encourage them. Go for a referendum, then the situation will be clear for all of us. And if it will be happen, so that will be a preferred candidate for 2038, and it will be the only one. And if they couldn't fulfill it, we go for other one.
Next question.
We didn't hear that, Rob. Sorry, just quickly once.
Sorry, and on the election for July, are both France and Salt Lake City potentially on a ballot then? In Paris?
Yes, simple answer. I think we.
Thank you.
I think you must have missed the beginning, but
Yeah, I had some audio issues. Thank you.
no problem. One more question online, and then we'll come back into the room.
We have one from Switzerland, from RTS, Patrick Deletro.
Oui, bonjour tout le monde. Je me permets de poser cette question en français. Deux questions. La première, mais je crois qu'on est d'accord jusqu'en 2027.
We agree that until 2027, the dialogue will continue with Switzerland.
C'était clair.
I think it was clear.
C'est sur le
The
message
other question
qui est
is
envoyé.
about the messages that have been sent out.
Karl Stolz, que
Karl Stolz, you say that Switzerland
de soutien politique,
lacks of political support which would be improved,
référendum populaire,
or maybe even a
pas nécessaire.
referendum which is not necessary in the other countries. Why asking Switzerland to organize a referendum? And Peter, in all bids, we need a big priority. In other words, a strong political support, whatever the quality of the file. Is that correct?
Oui, merci infiniment pour ces questions.
Thank you for these questions.
Oui, c'est effectivement un
Yes, to the first question, it's a temporal horizon until the end of 27.
Là, encore une fois, parce
This is the target because if this privileged dialogue
alors il faut repartir dans une
does not succeed, we have to look for another procedure. And as I've said a while ago, this takes quite some time to mobilize the necessary energies and to come up with a project of the quality we have today.
Le message,
As to the message,
le soutien populaire est nécessaire.
the popular support is necessary, of course. We have this
La Suisse, puisqu'on est à bien plus de 60%.
within Switzerland because we have more than 60%
Concrétiser aussi
at various opinion polls. But this has to be materialized at the political level, and they have to give a certain number of guarantees. In the Swiss context, that means guarantees at the level of the Confederation, the cantons, and the municipalities. Now, when we speak of a referendum, it is true that in our country, and here I speak as a Swiss, we have a long-standing tradition regarding referendums, which is not a problem. This is a popular consultation, and if we have support, it has been submitted to the population. It is not a must, but it can be done, and it could be that in the years to come a referendum will be organized. This is why we have an horizon in 2027, which seems quite appropriate.
Into the room, gentleman here wanted a question.
Question en français pour sportbusiness.club. Si vous deviez donner les points forts de la candidature des Alpes françaises, quels
Give the strong points of the French bid. What would be these strong points?
The strong points for the French bid is pretty clear. You have a very long tradition with winter sport and also for hosting winter sport competitions. That means last year the World Championship, for example, in Courchevel, Méribel, and also 3 Winter Olympics that has been here in France as well. So we have a strong legacy for winter sport. And the other one is with all the experience from Paris 2024 and to use it also for the next step to the Winter Games, that is a big advantage comparing to the other competitors here. And I think this is pretty clear for us. It will help us. And also you have a clear top-down approach. That means we have the support from the president up to the provinces and up to the municipalities. So, and also for all the federations and also the Paralympic organization, they are still backing this approach as well, and they are looking forward to organize it for the Olympic Games.
Okay, just someone else first, Rachel, but yeah, we'll go gentleman here.
I'm Kato from...
Yeah. It works.
I'm Kato from the Asahi Shimbun. This may be similar to the question that came up before, but I'd like to ask about Sapporo as a Japanese media. I suppose Sapporo was one of the leading candidates, or at least until around last year, but their name was not on the list announced at October. So why was Sapporo left off the list for 2034 as well? Thank you.
Yeah, I think that as I responded before, there was a clear indication that the foreseen horizon that we had established was probably too early in the current context, and as a result, and you've seen that including from the Japanese National Olympic Committee itself, that they wanted to take time before they would make a proposal again for hosting the games in the future. So of course, all along the way, and I could add this, we have encouraged them to continue with their proposals based on the incredible work that was done in the context of Tokyo. Let's be very clear, the effort there in a COVID situation was absolutely monumental. There was also a very strong technical backup to Sapporo's proposal. Unfortunately, for reasons that I mentioned before, mainly linked to governance, there was a decision on their side to step away. For the moment, doesn't mean that it's not open for the future.
But I would like to add something. Sapporo is always welcome, and the doors are open for Japan and the Japanese Olympic Committee to go in a further dialogue. And we would be more than happy to continue the dialogue with the Japanese Olympic Committee. And if they will tell us we are ready now to go in a clear and deeper dialogue, so we will open the door again for Japanese Olympic Committee as well.
Okay, gentleman in the Breton jumper.
Bonsoir, Nicolas Lepelletier pour Le Monde. Dans vos critères, vous prétendez que le soutien populaire est essentiel pour la candidature
popular support is essential. But for the French Alps, there has been no referendum.
Comment vous êtes-vous assuré de ce soutien populaire, sachant que pour les
How are you sure of this popular support? Whereas the opinion polls show the contrary.
Une information qui est importante pour nous.
An important information for us. We are not asking
Candidature de fournir
the candidates to give us
soit technique ou de soutien populaire à ce
technical elements or popular support. We are doing the job. What you will be seeing is the result of the work of the Commission.
Les sondages sont effectués par le CIO.
And the opinion polls are made by the IOC, which have shown a strong popular support regarding the French Alps. And we are very pleased about this. We also have the political support that has been mentioned a while ago. When you speak of the opinion polls regarding the Paris Games that are going down, we don't see it this way. It is normal when the Olympic Games come closer that there are some worries, which is healthy. But the popular support in France remains incredibly high. And I can promise that because I've been living for several decades campaigns for the Olympic Games, we never had such a strong support as we had for Paris. This is linked to what the IOC president has said yesterday and has repeated this morning. These games are made around a heritage which is already being delivered, and this is fantastic.
So we'll go to Kyodo first.
Hello, this is Takafumi Yoshida from Kyodo News. Could you hear me okay? About Sapporo, if they want to do bid again, will it be 2042 or after? Could you?
No. First of all, also the French Alps and Salt Lake City have to do the homework. If the homework is done, the bid will come to the IOC session, and there will be the the final decision. But I think it's pretty clear if you have a look to Salt Lake City, you see that 70 or 80% of the targeted dialogue goals are still here. So it will go in this direction. And I am also sure with the French Alps, they will do their homework in a very strong and directly way. And for the further one, we have to see how it goes further with Switzerland. If Switzerland could bring all our goals together with us in the dialogue, in the privileged dialogue, they are the only candidate for 2038. If not, the door is open for each other candidate.
Jerry, if I could.
Yes, please, go ahead.
You know, there is one thing, yes, it's true. We have only one Olympic Games every 4 years, okay? And in this case, we have, as you heard, 4 great proposals. It doesn't mean that there are not other events in winter sport that should not be organized. There is a tradition to host World Championships as well, and Sapporo would be fantastic host for a number of them. And I think that building, like we've seen with the other proposals today, working on the basis of World Championships, demonstrating the capacity to organize at that level is also something that everybody would be encouraged, including Sapporo, because it has it all.
Okay, gentleman, yes, to the right of Mark there. Wait. Yes, sir.
Oui, bonjour, Alain Mercier, France-Jeux. Ma question concerne le dossier français et notamment le site.
This is from France-Jeux. My question is about the speed skating venue in France. It's not finished yet. Do the French have to choose something before the session, or do they have a margin after the session in Paris?
The answer is pretty clear. They have to do it before the session. They have to show us in which case they will organize speed skating. So they could do it in a temporary venue, or they could have a look abroad, maybe for a possibility in a neighboring country. That is also possible. Or they will choose another city in France where they could do it. So we are really open, but they have to show us where the venue will be for the Games 2030. And they have to bring it before the session, and then we have to decide it at the session.
Okay. Let's go online for a couple of questions, and then we'll finish off with a few here to finish. Yeah.
Mark, we have Graham Dunbar from AP. Graham.
Thank you, Christian. Can you hear me?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I haven't labeled it on the camera. Two-part questions. There's 2 hosts. I think Mr. Stoss maybe anticipated the first one by praising Salt Lake City. As there's no real precedent for this kind of dynamic future host commission for the winter, Salt Lake City seems pretty certain that it's going to be. How much certainty do you have at this stage that it will be Salt Lake in 2034? And also for 2030, what do you see? Some people might be amused that, a sun-drenched French Riviera resort like Nice could be a Winter Olympics host. What do you see as the advantages of putting Winter Games venues in Nice, which clearly is a city and a resort that people have got a very, very positive image of?
Yeah, Nice will be responsible for the ice competitions, and they will do it, they will organize it, but they have to show us also where are the venues. So for this proposal, they would like to build a new ice hockey hall, a venue, but it is not decided yet by the government of the region, Provence, Côte d'Azur. They have to do it before, or they have to show us maybe they could find also in a neighborhood a venue where they could organize ice hockey events. And for the first question, maybe this one was, Christoph?
Yeah, about the dynamic of the work between Salt Lake and the Commission. Yes, indeed, it was a very deep gram, and that's courtesy of this new approach that allows for deep engagement between the parties, and for that matter, it was with the very knowledgeable team of Salt Lake City. Some of our counterpart were already there at the time in 2002, and of course that gives certainty to the quality of the proposal that is being made from a technical standpoint, of course, but also, as you heard, from legislative, since now they have all powers after consultation of the respective chambers to enact the guarantees moving into the targeted dialogue. So that's in terms of certainty what we can bring.
Thank you. Christian, a few more online?
Absolutely. Wakako Yuki from Yomiuri Shimbun. Wakako, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the opportunity. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, please go ahead, Wakako.
First, quick confirmation with Christoph, if I may. When you say Sapporo or did contact you, I mean, you did contact Sapporo and they de facto withdrew. Was it around when was the conversation take place? Was it specifically for 38 or indefinite? To Carr, if I may, you have with the 38 Switzerland, you've said 15 years ahead of time, which is a record even in the current IOC's policy. What is the merit for doing it? Last time around in Mumbai, we've heard this double allocation is to earn time by time for you, Future Host Commission Winter, to consider the possible deliberations of sustainable, climate reliable future Olympic Games. Could you give us a bit of idea or timeline what that would be, that front would be looking like? Thank you.
So first I come back to your latest question. 2003X, that means we will stay in a privileged dialogue with Switzerland to organize Olympic Winter Games, and we will stay in the dialogue till end of 2027 latest. That means if they could fulfill all the considerations for 2038, we could come to a decision with an IOC session earliest in 2028. That means 10 years ahead. But you're right, from the perspective now, it is a very, very long term. But I think with this discussion and with this dialogue for the next few years, we have a little bit more time to come to a decision. And the first question,
but to the first question, Wakako, don't quote me on this one, and we will ask the team to respond formally, but I think it was right before the executive board in Mumbai, which was early October. So this is when a public release was made from the Japanese side, and of course we acknowledge this information.
Just to allow me to confirm, was it specifically for 38? Because no. Our understanding...
No. That was for future games, Wakako. That's the way it was expressed, for future Olympic Winter Games, not edition specific.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, couple quick more online questions, Christian.
Yes, we take two more, Mark. We have Mikola Reshniuk from Tribuna.com. Mikola, the floor is yours.
Hello, I have one complex question. Yes, when will the final decision be made about the participation of athletes with Russian and Belarusian passports in Paris 2024, and if they will be allowed to compete, how the IOC plans to avoid the participation of those athletes who show their support of Russian military aggression against Ukraine. Thank you.
Yeah, we've always, it's Mark Adams here. Yeah, we've always said, obviously, we would take the decision when the time is right, and we also said that we would take our time in making that decision. But clearly, we also want at some stage to give athletes certainty about competing. So I can't give you an exact timeline because conditions are changing all the time. Obviously, it's being discussed, and we will let you know when a decision has come. In the meantime, yeah, those athletes continue to be vetted at the moment by federations for taking part in international competition. We also look into, when we get queries and we get evidence from third parties, we also look into that as well. So there is a process which will carry on, in fact, right up to the games, and I would believe, but I can't say for certain, but I would think also during the games as well. Thank you very much indeed. One more question, Christian, online?
Yes, we have Ed Hula from Florida.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed. Oh, we can't hear you. Hang on. You're on mute with your spaceman's outfit on.
Oh.
You're still on mute.
I hope I'm unmuted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Nice to see everybody. Just to follow on from Wakako's question, assuming everybody does their homework in the coming years, you've got the horizon set for the next Winter Olympic Games through 42. If that's the case, doesn't that kind of open the door very wide for a candidate from Asia to be considered and really put you on a certain course to that kind of rotation, bringing the games to Asia after a long period after Beijing?
You're totally right, but we had in the past 2 winter games in Asia, Pyeongchang and Beijing. And now the next edition will be in Europe with Milano Cortina 2026. And maybe the next one also in Europe with 2030 in France, French Alps. And then the next one, maybe 2034, will be in US with Salt Lake City, Utah. And then a principle of rotation will be also our commitment to go back to Asia again. And for that reason, I think it's brilliant if Japan or another country will come with a proposal to us and to step in a dialogue with the future host.
Okay, let's return to the room. 1 or 2 more questions in here. People who haven't asked questions first, if possible. Yeah, gentleman at the back with the camera.
Bonjour, Adrien Marchand pour l'agence France Presse. J'ai une question, c'est comment l'impact écologique, la question écologique a pesé sur le choix de vos candidatures? Quand on prend par exemple celle de la France, on voit qu'il y a la Clusa où il y a une bataille entre les écologistes et la mairie vis-à-vis d'une retenue d'eau. Et on sait qu'aussi l'écologie concerne principalement les hiver. On voit qu'il y a pas mal de batailles vis-à-vis d'un glacier entre
There is a battle going on at the level of the glacier to prevent the destruction of this glacier to build the slopes.
Comment la question écologique a pesé? Merci.
What was the importance given to the ecology and the environment question?
Christophe.
Au centre, la question écologique au centre.
The ecology was at the main center of the discussions. This was one of the strategic missions given by the executive board to the Commission of Future Hosts.
posais la question de la rotation justement dans le contexte
the issue of the rotation was raised in an ever-evolving climate. Winter Games have to adapt, and this question is also valid for the Summer Games. For certain cities we had in the past, if we go to 2040, it will be very complicated to keep the dates we have today between mid-July and end of August. That's the issue. Is also valid for the Summer Games. As to the Winter Games, as there are or might be oppositions, and we hear them, the Commission has in the past met all non-governmental organizers, opposition, during the organization of the Olympic Games, because it's thanks to information and transparency that ideas can evolve. Of course, we will be discussing climate issues, preservation of the environment, and this goes through a reasonable use of water resources and the use of renewable energy. The French Alps are in a phase of transition in this field. They have very ambitious plans north and south, because today it is obvious that we have to look for less energy-eating solutions.
La question numéro 1 qui se
pose. The main
dans
question in this fight is the following. The long-term sustainability, and within durability we have ecology.
Final
Thank you.
question. If no one else, then I'll go back to Rachel to finish last question, please.
2 questions. As part of this process that you've laid out for these for the next few months, to what extent are commercial interests revolving LA part of the discussions that you'll be having with Utah? Typically there's a 7-year window, but we're in a new world of IOC bidding, so how much is that to be sorted out? And then maybe Carl or Christophe, the French bid, at least publicly, was not known until the most recently of all the options on the table. I'm wondering if you could provide a little bit more background on the process, when this started to form, how they got it along, and came here, you know, what appears to be quickly at the end to take that spot.
To the first question, in the dialogue with Salt Lake City, Utah, they explained us they are ready for 2030 and also 2034. But for them, it would be much better to have a little bit more time between Los Angeles 2028 and the next winter edition in 2034 for Salt Lake City. So that was the reason to say our priority would be 2034, but if it is necessary, we go in also in 2030. But we have a stronger support from the commercial side in 2034.
Yeah, and as far as the French dossier is concerned, first it's if you go back in history, you have documents that have been produced by the PACA regions regarding hosting the Olympic Games for quite a while, but it was only after the decision of the IOC Executive Board last year to postpone the awarding of the Games that some interest manifested itself. Themselves, sorry, with the Swedes, of course. Switzerland, Salt Lake City was in dialogue with us from a few years, 2020 actually, and then we had a delegation of the 2 regions coming to Lausanne and ask about how it would look if the 2 regions would be teaming up and present a value proposition to us. And those were obviously confidential, but we started to work with them on what is available in the 2 regions, start to craft what was then a dossier formally approved by the CNOSF, and from that moment in time, the next steps. So it doesn't mean that because they revealed it publicly later than others, that work was not done before. And obviously, as the chair started with, one of the strengths of the French value proposition is that we have a lot of the building blocks from Paris that can be reused as well. And this is for sure an advantage when you have 5.5 years to organize the games.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. We will be back at 6 tomorrow. It could be earlier, so do keep your eye out on the site formerly known as Twitter. And thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.